So, Kez Gaming, someone who, Doomer to Doomer, I've always liked, put out a video called Why I Hate Doom Auto Aim and Why You Should Too. Now, I think Kez did this on purpose because he knew such an incendiary title would get the views, and I totally don't blame him. But a lot of the hate that he's seeing could have easily been avoided. So I just want to react to this video. I'm gonna splice up this in Vegas and upload it, even though it's kind of off the cuff. I just want to see what he has to say, and I also want to see what commenters have to say. Let's get into it.
No, I really like tea.
Okay, first off, I want to say, even though I have seen it before, that Sting opening is so stupid. I find it fucking hilarious and good, and I hope he keeps it for at least a while longer. For me, the video started on the right note.
You know, I could probably write a book, a series of books, in fact, on all the things that the purists in the Doom community and I don't see eye to eye on.
You know, it's a funny thing. I'm a vanilla enthusiast. I love making vanilla WADs, and I love playing vanilla WADs, and I love playing in DOSBox. But I'm not a purist by any means. I love modifying the game. That includes modifying the levels and modifying the behavior. So, I can't very well call myself a purist, although I am a vanilla enthusiast.
The strongest thing, more than anything else, is the subject of auto-aim.
As many dumb opinions as purists have, I find it funny that auto-aim is like the sticker. Even with my vanilla-loving ass, I sometimes see, there's sometimes where purists make points where I'm like, that doesn't seem like a very salient point, but whatever. Of course, everyone should play Doom as they like, everyone knows that.
No mouse look with auto-aim. The way it was designed to be played, as it were. But ever since then, once I got into modding, I've always played Doom with Freelook and with no auto-aim.
When John Carmack first gave the source code out, I think it was only like 4 years after Doom came out. I mean, I know that's a long time. There was a lot of modding done in those 4 years, but it was a pretty short time. The first things he said that port developers should implement were Freelook, jumping, crouching, sloped surfaces, and deep water. And all of those were implemented within like a matter of months. In like early 98, I think. So Freelook was in Doom for like a solid 2 years before the 90s even ended. Not to mention, it was already in Heretic and already in Duke Nukem as well.
Now, I totally get why the auto-aim exists, because back when Doom was originally first created, they were making a game that actually had some verticality, as opposed to Wolfenstein, which was just straight horizontal, and got old really quick because of it. Enemies that fly higher up, like the cacodemons. It was very well done, especially since it's not really a real 3D game. It's still 2D,
Oh,
and
no.
it's mapped in 2D.
He said it!
Rendered to look 3D, as it's properly called 2.5D.
As you've done it. Now, to be fair, I made a video many moons ago where I said that Doom was 2.5D, but that was on the back of a bunch of evidence that showed it was 3D, and I was saying the levels are 3D. I used to think 2.5D meant a mix of 3D and 2D assets. I was wrong. 2.5D refers to like some specific way of drawing shit, like think of like Marble Madness and Mario RPG and Snake Rattle and Roll. If you've played any of those like isometric games, apparently those are 2.5D because they're literally just a flat image and you can move a thing around on it. Anyway, Doom is a 3D game, and it's got a lot of 2D stuff in it, like 2D sprites, but the levels have height, they have width, they have depth, and the player is able to move freely in all of those by like riding lifts. Borog, I don't know how it's pronounced exactly, made a much better video on how Doom is limited but very much still 3D. Don't watch my shitty old video, watch his, and it'll explain why Doom is actually 3D.
This was all mostly due to the hardware restrictions at the time, and is why you can't look up or down, because it sort of breaks almost sort of the immersion and sort of makes the physics just look a little bit weird, you know, the way the walls and the floors meet. It's just not quite correct.
Well, that's actually true. I'm pretty sure, I don't know if it was during Doom's development or anything, but I feel like John Carmack and John Romero both, random points in random interviews or random internet posts have actually commented that they specifically weren't that interested in Freelook in Doom because the only way to achieve it was that Y shearing effect, which is used in Heretic and Duke Nukem. I totally don't think that was a worthwhile change. Like, they should have just added the Freelook and accepted that Y shearing was kind of ugly. I do remember like something along the lines of, we didn't add that because it was ugly. So Kez is pretty much right with his explanation here.
Well, you still need to aim up and down, so thus you had auto aim in order to shoot rockets up top at the cacodemons above you. But that's really where the major flaw of auto aim comes into play, at least for modern day Doom players, because the fact is it is wildly inconsistent. And that's exactly why I hate it. Auto aim takes away control from you as a player. When playing Doom, I want to be able to choose who the top priority is as an enemy and then be able to shoot at them accordingly. I don't want to feel like if I aim over to the right, my rocket's gonna go way up top and take out something that's right in front of me instead.
So this isn't really just a matter of Kez's opinion. You do have more control with Freelook. That's a statement of objective fact. But as well as that, the auto aim in Doom fucking blows. It blows, asshole, guys. Stop defending it. I'm a vanilla freakazoid who's been playing Doom since the mid-90s, right? I get it. You like vanilla Doom. But auto aim in Doom fucking blows. Okay, so if you're exactly centered on an enemy, or they're so far away from your center, auto aim will kick in. But there's a tiny gap right next to the center of where you aim on either side where auto aim straight up doesn't fucking work. So if there is an enemy on a ledge above you and they're in that small window, which, let's be honest, most of the time that's where they are. And that means most of the time it doesn't kick in, and that means if you're using a rocket launcher, it could kill you, and if you're using a hit scan weapon, it's just gonna waste your fucking ammo. And I've got tons of gameplay footage on my channel at this point. I've only been doing Let's Plays for a few months of Doom related content, and I've already got fucking countless moments where the auto aim sucking hard has resulted in me wasting a shitload of ammo because I was in that teensy weensy window where the auto aim doesn't kick in. Additionally, the enemies in Doom, Barons of Hell, have infinite fucking up and down view. They can look, if you're way above them on a platform or way below them and they're in like a watchtower, they can throw their projectiles directly downward on top of your head, even though your auto aim only kicks in like 6 feet above you and 6 feet below you. So yeah, just another little piece of evidence for auto aim not being the greatest thing.
To me, in any first-person shooter game, especially Doom, the ability to look around, figure out where my enemies are, and then go after them accordingly is what's really important to me. And I would take the ability for that any day over having to deal with some wonky-looking visual physics. You know, I can get used to all of that. And generally speaking, it's not going to affect my gameplay session past the first 5 minutes. Whereas, if I have to deal with auto aim, I'm going to have to deal with it the entire stinking time. Even though eventually, yes, I'll get used to it and learn to adapt my skills around.
Yep, you'll adapt to crap. That's what we have to do a lot of the times, in old and new games alike. But not with Doom, because it's been modded. Now, you know, it's funny, because I don't use Freelook in single player. I'm playing devil's advocate here, almost. I only use it in multiplayer, but anyway.
The purists will sometimes tell you that auto-aim will make you a better player, but I strongly disagree. Auto-aim only makes you a better player in the same sense that using a Donkey Kong banana controller in Dark Souls makes you a better Dark Souls player. In the same way that you have to force yourself to learn this restriction and then this thing that kind of holds you back, you have to do the same thing with auto-aim. But I would argue over the long term, it would make you a worse player because you're not learning the valuable skill that aiming is.
No, it's not true, because you gotta get your left and right aim perfect for the auto aim to actually work in Doom. And I mean frustratingly perfect, like I mentioned before. You do have to be really good with aim and your timing and stuff for auto aim to kick in and work as intended. I guess dealing with how sucky it is will make you a better player in that you'll have a higher tolerance for annoying bullshit. The idea that someone's not good at Doom because they either do or don't use Freelook is just ridiculous to me. It's more about the way you move as a player to like dodge projectiles and shit. I think it's a non-factor.
I'd also argue that auto-aim, generally speaking, is really bad for multiplayer sessions because it kind of gives you that slight aimbot advantage. Really, at the end of the day, it basically comes down to, do you want the most pure vanilla Doom experience, or do you want more of modern type control that you would feel in newer FPS games?
Funny thing is, a lot of people don't know this, but Doom supported left and right mouse look from square one that feels really smooth and responsive, especially if you turn off vertical mouse sensitivity. The only difference that I perceive between modern Doom controls and classic Doom pure DOS everything controls is that Freelook is an option. In ZDoom and stuff, player movement is floatier, but setting that aside, I feel like people think there's a much huger gap between Doom with modern controls and classic Doom just with a modern, like, it's not modern either. Quake WSDA and mouse look, 96, dude. It goes back to 96. This isn't directed at Kez, by the way. This is directed at the people who are like, you modern noob. You're playing with Freelook that was only been around since 96 and added to Doom in 98. Fucking noob. Play it the 93 way. With purism, play in the 1.2 engine that still has a bunch of fucking stupid glitches.
For me, I'm strongly in the team of the latter. Now, if you prefer to use the old purist vanilla style, I really can't blame you for it, as it comes down to personal preference. There's really no wrong way to play classic Doom. And if that's what you prefer, there's certainly plenty of options out there for that. But to sit there and actually act like that it's better because it was the original design of the developers, or to say that it breaks the design of certain maps like jumping and crouching, is just totally false.
You can shoot switches that you're not meant to be able to shoot with Freelook in certain maps, and that objectively breaks them. There's also some maps that rely on the fucking terrible and stupid and never has been fun and never will be fun mechanic of putting enemies too far out of your auto-aim reach so that you can't shoot them in vanilla, but they can shoot you, because enemy auto-aim goes for like 70 billion fucking miles in Doom, in addition to being purely vertical both directions, and your auto-aim goes about 6 feet out and 6 feet up and 6 feet down. So it's completely shit, as we've already established. You actually can break progression by shooting stuff out of order. It's not as bad, it's not as overt as jumping and crouching. There's a bazillion examples of walls you can jump over in like every third vanilla Doom map. And then like shootable switches and the enemies too far crap, that's present in like 1 out of every like 30 fucking Doom maps. Like, it's so rare that making a stink about it makes no sense to me. Anyway.
And the ability to look up and down is not a feature, it was a forced limitation that people had to deal with due to what hardware they were able to work with at the time. And you can see that by the fact that just a few short years later, when they released games like Heretic and Strife, they added in mouse look themselves. It is very likely that if Doom had come out slightly later, it would have had mouse look featured in. And
from what I've read, the Y shearing was straining on 93 and 94 hardware. I think one of the older Morrowind games allows looking up and down before Doom did. And Heretic, like right after Doom, Duke Nukem 3D. Free looking is not some modern concept, let me put it this way. Every single friggin' Doom, every single 90s shooter, I almost called them Doom clones. Doom is superior to every FPS ever made, after all. But, yeah, the free look is not some modern concept. We just need to throw that idea out the water.
Be having this silly discussion today.
Exactly.
Secondly, I have played through tons and tons, thousands of classic Doom maps, and I could probably count on one hand the number of times that having mouse look on actually broke the map's game design.
If the text file for the mod you're downloading says do not use Freelook, and you're like, well fuck it, Freelook's more fun for me, just know that if you gotta look up and down, you know, from the midpoint to shoot a switch, you're fucking cheating. You might as well be typing idclip or IDDQD or whatever.
Involve the icon of sin. Yes, if you can look anywhere and aim freely, it does break the icon of sin.
The icon of sin was really fun in Doom 2 for me. This is a super uncommon opinion. Everyone fucking hates the icon of sin. The Cyber Demon and Mastermind, great high tier enemies that you could place around at random in a map. They're totally awesome for that. Cool looking, good design, super fun enemies. Suck ass bosses, you know what I mean? Fell asleep when I was like 7 and I first fought against Spider Mastermind. Anyway,
Looking up and down to take monsters out of a corridor that you would otherwise have to pop down in and then deal with them, I just think that that's just better smart playing. That being able to look up and down gives you more control over. That's kind of the whole...
I don't know if I'd call it smart, because it's a matter of preference, but if a mapper has made a layout so finicky that it depends on you not being able to shoot an enemy that, by the way, can shoot you because it's too low. Sorry, mappers, but that's just shitty. That's just fucking I'm gonna get so much fucking... I'm gonna cop a bunch of shit for this, but it's entertaining and it's funny to rant about it. And Kez is getting a lot of hate for it too, so I figure I'll join him and not make him feel alone in the copying hate train.
Point. It doesn't break up the gameplay flow. It allows you to deal with it in a different, oftentimes better way. It's not even comparable to things like jumping or crouching, which on a lot of classic maps, using those tools would allow you to actually skip certain entire sections of a map or break it completely. Get auto aim, and why you should too.
Kez, why did you... Never mind. I know it's for the... You got a lot of views on this. Well, for small scale Doom tubers like us. You got a lot of views on this video, so I get it, but oh my god, no one should hate auto aim. Even though it sucks, I pointed out why, but I don't hate it. You know, no one should hate it, and I know you know that too. You literally just put this title there for clicks.
There must be some sort of reason why auto aim is as popular and widely used as it is, apart from maybe just the whole purist angle. So I want to hear from you guys down in the comments. Why do you use auto aim if you do use it? And if not, what are your reasons? Please be sure and let me know, and if I missed per se anything in particular that you feel is important that I should know about auto aim, please let me know down in the comments, because I would definitely like to learn more about the subject.
I'm at the end of the video pretty much. I want to react to some of the comments. And obviously I already commented on this, as you can see here. Controversial only if you're a member of a species that lay eggs and you happen to be their lord. And I just said, you warm-blooded freaks just don't understand. I don't hate auto-aim. I think that auto-aim and Freelook are both equally viable, so... To play Doom with the original physics doesn't necessarily make you a lizard person. I'm not gonna go that far, okay? I have shaky hands that make it hard for me to aim in 3 dimensions, so I appreciate Doom's auto-aim and 2D aiming system, and compensating for my lack of coordination. Sure, sometimes it screws up and costs me, and sure, I wouldn't wish the icon of sin on anybody. See? More pointless iOS hate. But I'd rather have it than not have it. You know, I gotta agree. I've seen players who have naturally just very shaky hands. They might even have things like early onset Parkinson's and stuff like that. And a lot of these things that people call cheats can be for some people more like accessibility things. Borog K, here he is. Many like to play WODs the intended way. This is the reason purists haven't give up on their preferences, because in many cases giving up on them would just be plain cheating. Now if he's talking about jumping and crouching, that will be cheating on the vast majority of vanilla maps. We've already established that. Freelook is a little more of a niche case. While we can't read Romero's mind about original levels, modern community-made stuff is much better documented, and intended compatibility levels communicated via README files, forum threads, etc. Target compat levels limitations are taken into account, and auto-aim is no exception. It gets to a point where the whole idea of a map hinges on the inability to jump / crouch / look up. Many WOD classics are built this way. So, yeah, I would say that, like, beyond Icon of Sins and interesting shootable switches, fucking win. Or you know, the stupid faraway auto-aim thing. So the enemies can auto-aim at me, but I can't auto-aim at them. I've not played a level that had an encounter like that, where I was like, wow, that encounter that was totally unbalanced and unfun, man, that was super fun. Okay, so there you go. He mentions straight up the switches and the stuff outside auto-aim rate. Shootable switches that do cool shit and open cool doors are awesome. So there, I definitely agree with you on those. A lot of purists won't use a mouse look because it's not allowed in speedrunning. Well, of course. I mean, speedrunning, you'd gotta do that with the default controls. Unless you're specifying that it's ZDoom speedrunning or whatever, which no one does, but no one will stop you either. It's so weird to see someone describing the situation about 2.5D versus 3D that map creators like myself understood even back in 94 through 96. Three-dimensional means consisting of X, Y, and Z axes, which Doom levels very much do. There's nothing, you look up the dictionary definition of 3 dimensions, nowhere does it say anything about 2-story buildings or 2-story houses or whatever the fuck, okay? So the fact that you can't do room over room in vanilla, unless you use some really clever trickery like Picatum used in a map that they recently made. The lack of room over room has fucking zero to do with whether or not something's 3D. Let me, instead of doing it from the maps I've played perspective, let me do it from the maps I've made perspective. There's not a single piece of combat in any map I've made that wasn't an iOS derivative, which I only made like 2 or 3 of those over the course of the last 20 years anyway. You know, this is just my opinions. Feel free to hate on me and disagree and whatever else, or feel free to agree and acknowledge that what I'm saying is fucking, you know. I'm just kidding. I'm not talking about functional level design things like shootable switches that you're not supposed to be able to interact with or yet on lower floors. The very heart of the game, which is the combat gameplay loop that you end up engaging with. I don't know, Doom levels feature, even ones with pure, unmodified gameplay, feature completely different gameplay from vanilla Doom. And now by what I mean by that, that's a confusing sentence. What I mean by that is the experience of playing unmodded Ultimate Doom or Doom 2 is still going to be pretty vastly different from the experience of playing most vanilla PWADs, especially modern ones that use lots of custom assets or boom ones. You're getting into crazy non-Doom-like territory here. It boggles my mind that so many people love Doom WADs that look nothing like Doom. The textures are so un-Doom-like that you would think it's a different game based on screenshots. Oh, but you know, you can't look up and down, so it's still got that Doomy core. It's like, it's just funny to me as someone saying the heart of the game is the lack of Freelook. I mean, of all the things that are the heart of Doom, the lack of fucking Freelook? To me, the heart of Doom is shooting stuff and having a good time. So I don't know, I guess everyone's different. You know, to some people, the heart of Doom might be the original levels and the gameplay that they provide. Like, why are everyone playing these fucking WADs? They suck. It feels totally arbitrary to me. Freelook off on ultraviolence. Yep. The mantra of the annoying Doom purist. UV or bust, and Freelook off. I'm not calling Divide an annoying Doom purist, by the way. I'm being totally hyperbolic here. I don't want people to think I'm trying to insult them. I'm being super exaggerated in my reactions because I feel like it's funnier. You know what I mean? I don't actually care if people like playing it. It's funny to get, it makes it more engaging if you get into it. You know what I mean? I just feel like I could see, look, I'm just seeing right here the description. He's describing Abattoir's gameplay. And, I don't know. I mean, yeah, okay, there is a good example of a map that's maybe got better challenge. The challenge is better without Freelook. Totally agree. Fortunately, 99% of maps don't rely on that stupid putting the enemies somewhere where they can hit you, but you can't hit them. The best way to get an enemy so that they can hit you and you can't hit them is to surround the player on all sides horizontally with enemies. If there's some enemies coming at me from the front, but there's also some enemies coming at me from the back, I can pick and choose which of those I want to shoot, even with Freelook off. The ones that I'm not able to aim at and shoot at are by my own choice. In a map where they're put out of your auto-aim range, you get no choice. It just sucks to deal with. Also, I have enough boomer shooter games that I can play where I look up and down. There's plenty of those where you can look up around, so Doom is different for the variety. That's actually a super interesting argument for turning off Freelook. I play a lot of Duke Nukem 3D, I play a lot of Heretic, I play a lot of this, I play a lot of that. Quake. So Doom is the one where it's like, whoa, the inability to look up and down is like an interesting and unique challenge. That's probably one of the best arguments for it I've heard. Auto-aim kicks ass in any game. It's good for flying through levels and not giving a shit what you're aiming towards. If the option for auto-aim is there, I 100% turn it on. Whether it's Assassin's Creed, Metro, or Doom 3. It's always fun to just blast through them. Interesting idea, but that doesn't apply for Classic Doom. Things need to be right in the center of your aim, and I mean right in the center, or it's not going to work. Auto-aim in Classic Doom does not make the game easier. If anything, it makes the game a fuck of a lot harder. The only purism in my comment is being mad that the version you're playing makes Doom Guy right-handed. Completely legitimate complaint. Doom Guy's a fucking ambidextrous lefty main. The right-handed 3D Doom mod that Kez is using is very cursed and fucked up, I'll agree. Lighting effects are way less garish in the Risen 3D setup I have, and the weapons are centered where they belong in Doom. Again, it's 3D though. Nothing is as it's belonged. Doom is all about modding it and doing shit. Like, yeah. Obviously, there's nothing wrong with playing Doom or any game with whatever mods and changes you want. It's all about your personal experience and enjoying it. But seeing as you ask, the reason I keep auto-aim and generally play Doom in a very purist way is because to me, the experience of playing Doom comes with all the original gameplay mechanics. As you start to shed them, you're not really playing Doom anymore. Well, that's wrong, because then every custom map ever made, you're not really playing Doom anymore. I suppose it's technically true. You're playing fan content, but come on. That's a strict example. Playing certain vanilla maps still objectively changes the actual experience of playing the game way more than just like being able to do this. If I load up a Quake mod that includes Doom maps and the Doom monsters, isn't the experience going to be extremely similar to the heavily modded Doom you show in this video? At that point, would I be playing modded Quake or Doom? It's the old philosophical question about restoring cars. You had to replace all the engine components, is it the same old car? Well, if you've only replaced like 2 of the crucial components, one, then yeah, it's still definitely the same car. I don't think there's any philosophical argument needed there. If you replaced them all, you would be playing GZ Doom with free look and jumping and crouching on one of those modern fancy schmancy map sets that doesn't look any fucking thing like vanilla Doom. So it's not an apt comparison. Playing vanilla Doom with the only difference being free look, someone could show you a screenshot where they're looking up slightly and you'd still go, that's Doom. Not so with a lot of the heavily modded stuff. Basically, if I ever want to have an FPS experience with full mouse look and so on, I'd rather play a different game than mod the hell out of Classic Doom. The beauty of Classic Doom experience is that it's relatively unique, with auto-aim, limited Z-axis sprites, etc. I enjoy that for what it is. My response, I could just read this. Just one tiny problem, Doom with free look enabled is still 99 times more fun than the average FPS. I mean, it just is. I also respectfully disagree that the idea that slightly modded Doom is no longer Doom, since by that same reasoning one could just as easily claim PWODs and dehacked patches are not Doom due to changing the experience fundamentally compared to playing the IWODs without mods. It's funny because I've actually had a small handful of ultra purists. I'm a vanilla enthusiast who makes pure vanilla content that runs in fucking DOSBox, and yet, because I do a lot of dehack changes and graphical changes and shit, I've actually been told my shit isn't really vanilla. So everyone's standard for this shit is totally arbitrary, but yeah, I just had to throw that out there. My stuff that objectively is vanilla, and you could teleport it back in time to 1996, and no one would bat an eye. Changing Doom is the core of what makes it fun for me, but the changes have to be ones that I perceive as minor, and Freelook falls into that personally, since ports have had it since '98, not to mention Duke and Heretic having it. It still feels period accurate. On the flip side, despite finding them visually interesting, I have less than zero interest in super fancy GZ Doom mods that look nothing like Doom at a glance. I'm sorry if that's closed-minded of me, by the way, guys. They look really pretty. A lot of these maps that are like super, what's like, whoa, that doesn't look like Doom. And I'm like, yeah, it doesn't look like Doom. I'm a fan of Doom and I want to play some Doom. So I don't know, I think the idea, it's funny because there's a lot of Boom maps that are just so different visually. They have so much more sector detail, so much more stuff, and it's really interesting and it's really pretty. And from an artistic perspective, I do not want to shit on it because it's really amazing. And the amount of work is super clear. But I like an experience where I can just look at it and go, that's Doom. Like, sure, it's new levels or some new textures, some new sprites, but it's unmistakably Doom at a glance. Talking about all this, free look does not make it not Doom at a glance at all. You could show a screenshot of someone playing any level of Doom ever made with free look on, and no one's gonna be confused about what game it is. Even with free look off and super purist and real guys gameplay, you can't even fucking tell it's Doom in the screenshot. So I wanted to read one last one and I'm gonna wrap it up. This video has already gone on way longer than I meant to. pits. You can't see down them, you need to drop and hope. Yeah, that sucks. Dropping into a pit and hoping it turns out well is as fun as rolling a die and hoping it lands on the number that you had in mind. It's luck. Anything that's like pure luck, you got no way to prepare, you just put your dick in without a condom. That's not fun to me, dude. That's not what I'm all about. And then, look, hey, whatever's fun to you, that's fine. Chain gunners, I have to imagine mappers know what they're doing when they stick them up in a box that force you to be some distance away if you want to hit them. Chain gunners that are like so far away your auto aim can't hit them, but they can hit you fucking blow. Rockets, multiplayer, he mentions rockets and multiplayer. Turning Freelook on makes it so you go from 2 viable weapons, the SSG and the BFG, to 3 at least, because you can, instead of like the rockets just being this 2-mile-an-hour slow piece of shit that flies harmlessly through the air to the nearest wall, you can actually aim them at the ground and use them as nearby splash damage weapon, giving them some use where they had fucking zilch before. In an area that's like more than like 192, 256 units wide, someone firing rockets at you with low ping and multiplayer, they're not gonna hit you, because you're gonna see this slow fucking turd coming at you and easily dodge it.
Here it comes.
Here it comes.
You will be destroyed.
You're going
The
down.
explosion will be of extraordinary magnitude. Just hang on.
It takes a while.
Nice shot there, Brickout. Now I want you jokers out.
Oh,